Hello, everyone. It's Veronica, and today's topic is dogs and cats. Can you tell the dog's barking in the background, and I'm sure my cat will come around because every time I make a video, she seems to show up. I am joined by Christine Tapert, who's going to teach us all about using essential oils with dogs and cats. Christine, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Veronica. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm super excited to learn more, and I would just like to jump in. Give us your top tip.
Oh, wow. My top tip would be that it's really an amazing thing that we have these great tools to use when we need them, and to know that there are things that we can do in many cases to help for our pets to be more comfortable. And in some cases, it's even helped me to avoid some trips to the vet to see what needs to be done. And it's incredible to have them already there so that we can try something while we're on our way to the vet when you make an appointment for the vet. And in many cases, I've been able to cancel those appointments because I've been able to take care of my pet's needs at home.
That is so cool. All right, let's start with dogs. I'm a cat person, but let's start with dogs. I'll let the dogs go first. So I know that I've seen posts that you've made on Facebook about diluting based on the size of the dog. So can you get into that? Because I think that's a really important point.
It really is important. And honestly, I think that's the most important thing is diluting in general, because they are so much smaller and more sensitive, particularly dogs because of their noses. It's very, very strong to use these aromatic compounds with them. And so by diluting, it helps them to be more comfortable with the process, as well as it enters their skin. When you use it topically, it's important to have those compounds spread out so that it doesn't cause any skin sensitivity, because we're trying to be beneficial and not cause any issues for them. So just as you would for a child, it's very important to always dilute with dogs. The smaller the dog, the more you dilute. And with cats being very, very tiny, of course, we dilute quite a bit with them too.
So let's say, give us something that essential oils are great for dogs. So we have like a concrete example we can work with. What's something that you really have seen work well? Okay,
well, something I use very frequently is for any sort of licking or chewing, which is indicative of a skin irritation of some kind, whether it's a bite from a bug, or perhaps a little bit of allergic reaction from some animals have it from foods they eat or from grasses. And of course, they can have other seasonal irritants as well that cause them to be itchy. So they might start to chew. And if left unchecked, that chewing can turn into not only a red, uncomfortable spot, but also even a hot spot. So I've had that problem in the past. And I felt really powerless because there's so little you can do except for to put a cone on their head, and then it's still itching and they're not even able to chew it. So it's kind of, a little bit barbaric to keep them from doing that, but you really don't want it to get worse.
Oh, that's a tough position to be in. So what oils have you seen work in that situation?
Well, in the past, I'd used sprays over the counter, and a lot of those contain alcohol, so they burn their skin. And they may be somewhat effective, but it's kind of, you get it out and they run. So, it's not, and it's got alcohol. So imagine putting that on a wound. It's like when grandma used to get out the Bactine, and
I haven't thought about that.
So now I have a terrific.
Yeah, Bactine, that's what they used to do.
Or Camphofenique.
Yeah.
So now I have a terrific alternative I keep on hand at all times. There are different oils that can soothe the skin, but I personally use Roman chamomile for this purpose for dogs. If it was a cat, I wouldn't use Roman chamomile because that's not a good one for cats to use. But in the case of my dogs, I keep a diluted Roman chamomile spray. And at the first sign of any itching or any licking, then I'll just go ahead and part the fur and spray it. Again, it's pre-diluted. I have 2 dogs, and so I dilute it for my smaller dog, and then it works very well for my larger one as well. And I spray it right on the skin, and that's the end of it. If it goes a little longer where I don't notice that they're licking and it turns into an irritation, or if I'm gone on vacation and the person, you know, who's taking care of them doesn't get to it fast enough, it can create a little bit of a hot spot. But I have found that the Roman chamomile alone, it's amazing for just helping to reduce the inflammation and take away the itch, so that then they stop licking at it and making it worse.
And when you say dilute it, are you diluting that in water or oil? What are you doing there?
Good question. Yeah, you never want to use water because oil and water don't mix. So if you do use water, you have those 100% pure droplets of essential oil evenly distributed in water. And what you want instead is a carrier oil. I use fractionated coconut oil because it's the least greasy of the carrier oils, but you could use any other carrier oil you could use for human skin, grapeseed, jojoba, even olive oil. But the scented oils tend to attract the licking. And all of the oils that I use topically on dogs are safe for them to ingest. So if they do lick it, it's totally okay, but you don't want to encourage licking. And a carrier oil that's scented or flavored like olive oil can increase their desire to lick it off. You know, solid coconut oil is very nutritious for the skin, but it's also delicious. So fractionated coconut oil is my carrier of choice.
Yeah, so I've got this great thing and I'm going to spray it on my dog to keep him from licking, but then it tastes like candy to the dog, so he starts licking. Yeah, we definitely want to work around that whole dynamic.
Yeah, but the FCO works fantastically to help to spread out the molecules of essential oil so that they can gently penetrate the skin and it isn't as attractive to licking. Sometimes they will lick it off a little bit, but by that point, really on contact, it starts to go right through their skin and into their bloodstream. So you still get the benefit even if they do lick it off. And the dilution ratio right on the spot, and it's just instant. And they, once you use it a few times, they know exactly what you're doing, and they really know the reason, and they know it's going to relieve that itch.
That's beautiful. And the dilution ratio that you're using there?
Well, for basic, it really depends. So it's hard for me to just give a blanket basic rule. But for toy breeds, I do much like a cat, 1 drop in a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of the carrier oil.
Okay.
And then for small dogs, it's 1 drop to a teaspoon. Sorry, to half a teaspoon or 50 drops of carrier oil. And then as the size of the dog goes bigger, then it's less carrier oil with it. So like a medium dog is about 1/3 of a teaspoon and a drop of essential oil.
Okay.
A larger breed dog is going to be about 20 drops to 1 drop of essential oil. And this is, again, it's kind of a rough idea. You don't have to exactly measure 20 drops, just approximately 1/5 of a teaspoon or 1/4 of a teaspoon. And if the dog is older or if the dog is very ill, you're going to increase the amount of carrier. Even though they are a larger breed, you still want to go easy. And in many cases, a little bit less works just as well as using it exactly. So I tell people to go ahead and round up with the carrier oil, give it a little extra squirt, and in many cases, it's going to be just as effective.
That's really cool to know that. I think that's a very helpful thing. So that folks have an alternative, right? And like you said, you catch it, and even if you wanted to go to the vet, maybe you can't get in until later that day or tomorrow, and you have something to use in the meantime that can soothe the dog and make it a little bit easier.
No, I always tell people to not hesitate when they think that there's a veterinarian that needs to be involved.
Yeah, of course.
Cases, as a pet owner, you wonder for a little while, or you'll think, is this bad enough to take them to the vet?
Yeah.
When you're in that position, it's something you can do while you make that important decision and while you consider if an emergency vet fee is something that you need to add on to the burden of the vet bill. And so, you know, you always want to do what's very best for them. So I don't want people to use this instead of veterinary care. But my vets have been really amazed that often I'll make an appointment and I'll either cancel or I'll go in and show off how well it's doing and just double check that there isn't an underlying condition as well. In many cases, for the chewing example that we're discussing, food allergies or other kinds of allergies can be the cause, and it's important to get to that root cause. But in the meantime, you're at least alleviating the symptoms so they're more comfortable, and you're feeling that you're at least doing something so that it's not getting worse, because hot spots are just miserable and they can lead to infection.
That is beautiful. There's so many other questions I have about that, but I don't want to leave out talking a bit about cats. So do you have a top tip for cats?
I do. And with cats, it's be very, very extra careful about the oils you select. Cats do lack an enzyme that helps their livers to process different kinds of chemical compounds that can be found in oils. So in all cases, you avoid citrus, you avoid melaleuca, and any of the hot oils. It's very important to look up each and every oil you consider using on cats and dogs before using it. And I really use every single time. I double check. Even though I've been doing this for now almost 5 years, I still have a chart that I keep in my kitchen cabinet so that every single time I'm mixing a new blend, I'm certain that it's on the list of oils that are safe. And I do have I can read very quickly my favorite essential oils to use with dogs, and then my favorite for cats.
Oh, good.
For dogs, the most gentle ones that require the dilution ratio that I mentioned before, for pretty much every dog that's going to be effective, are basil, frankincense, helichrysum, lavender, balance, zendocrine, and oh, this has calming blend. Actually, I'm sorry, this is an old list, but calming blend has now become restful blend. It's serenity. So actually, even with the formula change, the serenity is a nice, very, very gentle oil to use with dogs. With cats, you don't want to any longer use the serenity because they have added vetiver, and vetiver is on the no list for cats. The most gentle oils for cats include frankincense, helichrysum, lavender, and balance. So those oils are on both lists for dogs and cats, but I do very carefully label every single blend I make with my pets' names, so that then there's never any concern if this is diluted for cats or diluted for dogs. And I'm much more quick to use the oils on dogs because dogs' systems are much more like ours and they react much better to the oils, whereas cats can be a lot more sensitive, and I go a lot easier on just, I don't use them for any sort of preventative with my cats. It's only as a support while I consider if veterinary care is needed, only in a condition where there's something going on that needs to be addressed instead of wondering if it's maybe something like I can with the dogs.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, I have a quick question about a cat situation I have. I don't know if this is anywhere close to something you know, but
okay.
Where I live, everyone loves cats. And so there's lots of them, and they're always on my porch and this, that, and the other thing, which is super fun. And it's out in the country, so they run around all day long, and they're not in the houses. Except for at least one of them, I've never caught him in the act, pees on my front door every day.
Okay.
And it's, you know, in the wintertime, whatever, but in the summertime when I have the screen door open, when he pees, it goes through the screen door into my mudroom. And I kind of don't like coming home to that.
No.
So I have done some barrier stuff so that if he pees, it stays, you know, doesn't come in the house. But I was wondering what I might use that would be safe, because I don't want to hurt anybody, including my cat, but would be a deterrent for front door peeing. Got any ideas?
Well, this is tricky because this is a behavior issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that can vary from cat to cat. This cat is likely marking your porch as someplace that he wants to take possession of, and this is he's claiming his turf. So this is a hard one because the oils that repel cats are the oils that are unsafe for them.
That's what I thought. All right.
Dogs have an amazing ability to sense toxins and avoid them. One that we lost somehow a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be dangerous for them to smell them, but it is going to make them want to go away. So there is benefit to maybe trying peppermint because it is so aromatic. They're going to get close to it. They're not going to like it. And so they're going to want to go away. So it's safe because they're only getting a little smell, which is fine. They sense that it's not safe and they're going to go away. But another problem with our oils, though, is that they are volatile and evaporative. So they go away very quickly. So you have to spray repeatedly. But once a cat gets to the point where your porch stinks,
yeah,
that's not going to be the place that they're going to mark up as, look, this is mine. It's going to be less appealing to them. So you may find benefit to using a peppermint and water spray. And if there's a time of day that they come around, try to get before that. If they come around every evening, spray in the afternoon, so that when they do come around, that this is not the place they want to call theirs anymore.
Okay, and if I just spray it,
as long as it isn't getting on their skin,
yeah,
and therefore absorbed in, which gets us to the point of aromatic use of oils for pets. Diffusers are perfectly safe to use around pets because they are just inhaling those compounds, and they can leave if the smell gets to where they feel that there's any toxic level. So it's very important when you use a diffuser to crack the door to the room so that the pets can leave if they choose to. This goes for both dogs and cats. So, and this is only in enclosed rooms. If you have a large room like a kitchen, living room, great room situation, then that's fine because there's a lot of space where they can go. They're not going to be right next to it. But if this is a small room like a bedroom or an office, you want to be sure to leave the door cracked so that they can leave if they want, because they're going to sense if there's any danger. And this is particularly important with cats. So when your neighborhood cat smells that peppermint, he's going to have plenty of other options of other places he can go and mark.
Yeah, I tell him that every day. You have tons of space. You could pee anywhere. What are you doing? So I'm going to give that a try. And I feel like if I spray it on my door, I have like a security screen kind of a thing, and then the front door. So I can spray it on the door and close the screen, and so there's no chance he would touch it. It would just be smelling. And that feels like it would be a good experiment to try. So thank you very much for that. I've been waiting for our call to be happening so I could ask.
Yeah, it will take consistency on your part at first, but over time, very quickly, he's going to learn that that is a stinky spot.
I am willing to be
also going to help with any mice or spiders who think about coming into that area too. So
yeah, we've got the spiders.
Spray has a lot of benefits. I like to spray it around my doorway for that reason.
Beautiful. Well, Christine, this has been fantastic. And literally, I could ask you 100 more questions. If other people feel like me and they'd like to know more, how should they be in touch with you?
Well, I'm easy to find on Facebook. Facebook Messenger is a great way to get a hold of me 24/7. Or I also do often help people through text or phone. So if anyone's interested in reaching me, my phone number is 206-755-7489. Text is probably the easiest to get started, but I'm happy to give anyone any advice that they need to help their animals, and I can definitely help them to find resources so that they can learn more.
Beautiful. Well, I'm Veronica. You can reach me on Facebook. My Facebook group is Energetics of Essential Oils. And my email is oilenergetics@gmail.com. I specialize, obviously, in the energetic properties of essential oils, and I would love to learn or share more about what I've learned about the oils in that capacity. If you're someone who has a passion for essential oils and would like to share it in my interview series, please reach out. I'd love to interview you about what you've learned about essential oils. Thanks so much, Christine. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Veronica. You too.